Welcome to the new year, friends. Here on the Uplevel Dairy Podcast, we are continuing to kick off 2024 with a series each day this week, revisiting our guest from last year who shared their one word for 2023. Get ready to get into the minds and the hearts of these dairy leaders, who I also call friends, to hear how their one word transformed 2023 and the word they have chosen to live by in 2024 on the Uplevel Dairy Podcast. This is the podcast for dairy farm owners, managers, and advisors who are committed to profitability, sustainability, and excellence. I'm your host, Peggy Coffeen, and it's my mission to bring you the conversations that will up-level your skill set and your mindset so you can be a top performer in the dairy farming business. And we are joined today by Jessica Pralle Trimner in Athens, Wisconsin. What strides has Miltrim Farms taken to move forward on her one word from the past year? Well, you're going to find out the high-impact actions that have led to some successes worth celebrating and Jessica's plans of what's going on in 2024. Enjoy this conversation with Jessica Pralle Trimner. Well, Jessica, so it was a year ago that you and I sat down to talk about your one word for 2023 and remind us what that word was.
The big word of the year was forward.
Okay, so forward. How did that all play out in the last 12 months?
So I think at the time I was like, oh, forward is a very easy word. We're always trying to move forward, trying to get better. But actually, it was one of those like blessings and curses at the same time, because I was always pushing forward and just trying to accomplish things, make changes where we needed to make changes. And just like probably many athletes or people, I got zoned in, put my blinders on, and I'm just like, we're just gonna go, we're gonna do it. So we did a lot of really great things. And some of them you kind of were a blur. So that's why when we talk about this year's word, I think it's going to make a lot of sense. But we made a lot of forward motion, whether it be on the farm, with our culture, and again, too, with people. I think we got to elevate a lot of people and move them forward. So it was an exciting and fun year, but got in that just like game focus mode where I'm just going to move forward and we're just going to get it done, and maybe attacked a little too hard. And so this year we've got a little bit, we're going to keep that in mind, but we're going to come back and maybe be more present to what's going on.
I feel like that's a hint. So it sounds like 2023 was what's called action mode. Like you said, zeroed in, focused in, and make the athlete reference. You were a basketball athlete at a very high level, right? And so you were in the zone this year.
Yes. So it was, as I was thinking about what 2024 looked like for us, I just kind of went back to, what senior year looked like for me. And I was very focused on what my goal was for that year and what I needed to accomplish. Like I said, just kind of put the blinders on and forgot some of the importance and the feeling of what everything was. So, and again, I just remember I did some coaching here a couple years out of college, and my mom talking to some of the senior girls after one of their like big games and said, you need to turn around and look at the court and just remember how it feels to sit in a silent gym. And so goosebumps. I think of that and I'm like, you know what? My best moments are always sitting in a quiet barn, walking a quiet pen of cows. And that's when I feel the most at home. And that's not always moving forward. That's just being still. I think that's really, some of that joy is what I need to now bring back into play for myself, but also for my team, because we worked really hard this year, and we did some crazy things sometimes, but it was good. And I think we got to see each other in our best and in our worst, and in some of our, just calm moments. So I think it's good for a team, but this year I think we're gonna, slow it down and just get back to our roots on some things.
Ooh, okay, this is going to be good. So before we get to what 2024 looks like in your mind, let's take a moment to just celebrate what happened for you and for Miltrim Farms and your team in 2023. So as you said, really focused, in the zone, getting things done. What's one of the things that you were just most proud of and brings you the most satisfaction when you look back on what you guys were able to move forward in 2023?
I think the biggest thing when I came onto the farm was just the culture of communication across all avenues here. We labeled every barn, so we have barn 5, which is the robot barn, and then barn 2 and barn 1, and just people only acted in those barns, and it was only my barn, and my barn did this, and I really wanted to get away from the my, or this, and even working with the shop employees too. Like, we have a very strong team of people, and at the end of the day, it takes all of us to work as a team in order to get the jobs done. And so the biggest thing we did is just getting people crossed around in different areas and learning, the opportunities, but yet some of the weaknesses that seem so glorious from the outside world, and then having more appreciation for the things that you have and the facilities that you work in. So we did a lot of just mingling of people in different actions and in different areas, and I think that's brought a new appreciation for everyone's job, and it's definitely increased communication. We have obviously a huge footprint when it comes to just the dairy, but we also have the heifer facility, and we've gotten to bring people back on the dairy side. And like I said, we moved forward through that, and that gave cross training, and we got to see new skills from new people, and it was by making communication and teamwork kind of our core value, we really got to elevate and see great things from people. So I think that was our biggest accomplishment, and that's been, like I said, big for me, is like people. I mean, people are everything. Whether you're, I've done sports my whole life, so that's all about people, and then I did sales, and that's still about people, and then when you come back to farming, it's still about people. And I'm so humbled by the group of people I get to work with. So if I can take my life experiences and help them, that's the biggest thing. And I've been so fortunate to be exposed to so many different things that I feel like some days I'm not good enough for all of them, but I try, and I just push to get better for them. So that was our big win on Forward in 2023.
Wow. And what a great leader you are, Jess. And I've been watching you basically grow up for years, through junior Holsteins and, now well into your adulthood and management. And so, so when you talk about the way that communication has really been a big area that's moved forward at the farm and at the dairies this last year, any tools or any training or anything in particular that really helped you, or that you tapped into for a resource, maybe a person? What resources were you able to leverage to really enhance that communication?
So a big thing for our team was we worked with Paul at Complete Management Solutions, and that kind of helped me because I could feel that we were separated, but it just helped me see how I could better utilize my team in different areas, and maybe where was some of the communication stopping and not going through. So I think the biggest thing was reorganizing our team, and sometimes the team meant we had to reorganize the cow team and put them in the right place for our cow care team to do our best job. So that was huge for us. And then again, too, listening to your podcast, Peggy, that helped a lot, because I grew up on a 400 cow dairy. Some of these things are new to me yet, but still, again, out there's it's not reinventing the wheel. Other people have done it, and you shared a lot of stories from other people who have been through where the challenges or the changes that we were working through. So that helped a ton. And then I think too, the biggest thing is just always not being afraid to be vulnerable with your team and then sharing my thoughts out loud, because again, I have an idea, but I work with a lot of people who have also been here for more years than I have, so they've seen things and maybe held it in, but getting their ideas out and into my ideas and then slowing down and working through things with them was huge. And that buy-in was so much bigger than, me coming in with these big gun ideas. We really approached a lot of things as a team. And like I said too, like some things were good, some things were like, yeah, okay, maybe we shouldn't have done that. And I mean, there were aha moments, but I think, again, like I said, is be willing to be vulnerable and to accept ideas and to just listen. Sometimes it's about work, sometimes it's about home, and sometimes it's about big dreams that are to come maybe after the dairy.
Any really strong examples that come to mind of an idea, like you talk about getting ideas out of your own head, but also bringing in ideas from others and being able to push some changes forward with those two things combined. Anything that stands out as an example of, a time where you were able to really pull that all together for a positive change?
Yes, so we're actually in the process right now. We did a big, not a big change, but we had made some renovations, and I always give a lot of credit to my maternity guys, because they have one of the biggest jobs, and sometimes it's not always the most demanding depending on how the flushes of calves come in. So we're renovating and redoing our processing and wet calf housing. So they've been huge in, kind of guiding what is going to be the easiest option for them. And we need more calving pens. So we had a meeting actually a couple of months now on how can I provide the tools to make that job more efficient. So I've kind of got a project board going on, okay, this is what we need. And then having them part of, understanding what the expenses are. And I always appreciate when they're like, oh, that's too much, like we can't spend that. But I'm like, okay, we have to remember, what does your time cost and what does this give us? So I think we're not quite through that, but that's been our really big project moving forward on that. And it's a young group of guys, so it's really cool just to hear their input on what they'd like to see, and especially for the future of it, knowing too that they could excel and go into another facet of the farm, but this is what's going to work long term. So that's been a really cool project. And then a month ago we did, well, not even a month ago, 3 weeks ago, we did down cow training with our entire staff, and I kind of let the maternity guys lead it. And so that was, a huge thing too, that they have the equipment, they've seen all of the scenarios, and then just how we've discussed handling cows, and then them giving that feedback back to their peers. So I think that was another big, we've been busy, we've been working, but cows have always been at the center for us, and then them stepping up and taking control of the situation where they themselves are the leaders.
And this reminds me of last year when we talked about your word forward, Jessica. And as much as it was, for your personal growth, you definitely had a high priority for what forward meant for the people. And just as you've referenced in our conversation again today, how important people are. And so how incredible was it for you to be able to see your team members develop as leaders?
It's huge, and I don't want to take a lot of credit, because at the end of the day, I'm here to support them, and I just get those very proud like mom vibes when they step up and just do it on their own. And I think the biggest thing is always just really trying to make sure that they feel confident. I mean, sometimes I'm not always confident, but it's just at the end of the day, when it's and understanding their values, I think has been huge. And when we combine as a team, we're more confident in the decisions we're making. When we talk about the things that, this is a problem area, how do we make it better? It's made me better having these conversations. But yeah, I can't take a lot of the credit, because at the end of the day, I'm just I'm the big cheerleader. I'm here, like, I'll work through the hard scenarios with you. Let's talk about it. And then too, it comes back to accountability circle. So when we all hold each other accountable, we know someone's got our back. So I think that's been the biggest thing, is I've always had their back. So then when we step up and have to hit challenges, it's not a matter of needing me to be there to help. We've already talked about it. They step up and they know what they have to do.
Well, so I think the greatest testimony to your personal leadership is that essentially you've empowered people to be able to want to do it on their own and given them the environment and the encouragement to thrive. And as much as you don't want to take credit, I'm giving it to you anyway, Jess. These are some incredible wins for you and for the team and for the whole dairy. And like you said, like, people are important, and cows have always been at the center as well. So, I mean, these things are good for the cows too. And so any other wins that come to mind from moving forward in 2023?
I think we've got some big goals to continue pushing. We're going to work on some of our in-house breeding, which has been really good. One of my, I would say, softer managers, not in the amount of work he does, but he's just a very quiet, very humbled person. He's taken on breeding, and he's like, oh, I'm not very good. And right now, I mean, too, like, when you're digging through numbers on Dairy Comp, and our breeder that works, our out of house breeder, has like thousands, but right now Apollinaire has been, I think he's got 400 breedings in, and his conception is above the breeder or the inseminator who comes in from out of house. And so I always tell him, we all start somewhere. So I really look forward, and it's been fun watching him develop in his role at the heifer barn. And just, I've always been big on you don't have to be the loudest person to lead. You just have to be the rock. And as long as you can be consistent and show up and work well with people, that is leading. And I think that's what, when I talk to some of the guys too, like, that's what scares them, is they think that if they lead, they have to be loud and they have to be affirmative. And I'm like, yes, but the biggest thing is you have to be consistent. So I'm excited to see him, and then our robot barn manager, Mary, too. They've been working really well together, so they're going to lead through this course, so that way hopefully we can breeding course, so we can hopefully do more things in-house. So it's been a very, again, collective and collaborative group, and then just working, all working on leadership. But again, like I said, consistency is key. And as long as we show up every day and, put that in our book, like, again, for a team and for keeping people and cows at the center, that'll continue to be successful. So yeah, I've got 2 guys that have really excelled this year, and I have more that are, have always been pushing that envelope. So I'm excited to see where they're going to go.
Oh, well, I'm excited to hear more about that too. And hey, question for you. You've talked about communication and really leadership with the team and these awesome results in the past year. So when it comes to communication, are you bilingual, or how have you found ways to bring this effective communication across a team that speaks a couple different languages?
So I am not. My Spanglish is pretty embarrassing, but I have taken a couple Spanish courses, and I am working. And one of my guys that I've been really pushing on leadership is also my accountability partner. So there are days where he only speaks to me in Spanish, and that is my goal, is to, by the end of 2024, be better, because I think truly, for me to understand all of the cultural things, I really want to be bilingual. Yeah, I don't think I'll get 100 fluent, but I want to be. I would feel better. And there's so many things too that I feel I miss out on because of that barrier. But I think the biggest thing is obviously too, we utilize a lot of Google Translate, so that helps. and also having, key people. We have like 3 key people that I go to if we do need some translating, who have been key parts of the dairy. So always having a clear guided communication through them. Otherwise, I always have an open door policy, and I haven't looked into having an interpreter like solely for the farm, just to have that third party person if they ever feel uncomfortable. But I guess for the most part, usually if they do feel uncomfortable, they have a friend that they'll bring in. But so no, I'm disappointed in myself, because I really, part of my forward was to start mastering more than just the simple phrases and words. But I think I think my word for 2024 is going to help bring that back into perspective and help me slow down a little bit, so that way I absorb and really push myself. So I have a really good team. A lot of them are pretty bilingual, and then I'm very fortunate to have some tenured people who are always willing to help translate. And then, just like I said, trying to always be vulnerable when we can and borrow Google Translate, but having enough awareness of dairy Spanish really helps to translate things, because Google Translate is not perfect. So yes, we make it go, and sometimes the emojis definitely help.
Oh, that is awesome. So I give you so much credit for setting those goals for yourself. And even if you feel like you fell short, it sounds like you have indeed made progress. And I bet that goes a long way with your team and your attempts. That in and of itself is a form of communication, that you care about wanting to meet them where they're at and learn their language. Okay, so Jess, it's time for the big reveal. You've dropped several hints about your word for 2024. Tell us what it is.
So anyways, I've never been good at keeping secrets, so I already dropped it, but the big word for 2024 is present. I just feel like this year I was so focused, like I said, on moving forward, that sometimes I forgot to sit back and enjoy the wins. So I want to be more present with my team, to slow down and smell the roses, as you will, and just get back to focusing in on our goals and making sure it always aligns with what we believe in as a farm and as a team, and embracing, like I said, embracing some of these learnings of Spanish, and just continued education, and not always being pushed to try to do things, but make it purposeful and be present in those moments, so we're always working together.
When you really think about how to celebrate those wins for yourself and for your team, what does that look like?
We really want to get back to having, like, we're going to push having good team meetings, but also having some like fun team meetings as well, where we're going to do more birthday celebrations. We kind of put those on the back burner this year, more anniversary celebrations, but then also too, just, putting people up when they do something really, really good, and making sure everyone knows what they did, and then just retranslating some of our goals across our different teams now that we've kind of established what we feel is very realistic, and just doing more promotions of each other and talking about our backgrounds, because I think that is the biggest, like, for me, I love just being present with someone while they're talking about their family or what's going on with members that are still in Mexico, or what are their big goals. So I think really honing back in on our HR side of things, and when we're doing reviews, what does that look like, other than just the appreciation and the review of their work, but what is the next step? How do I help you make that next step? We've talked a lot about it, but just being more fluid on it, and then, like I said, just doing more celebrations, but sometimes not making it about work, making it about them, whether it's they had a baby, or, like I said, birthdays and anniversaries, and just immersing myself more in their outside lives, because I get to see them at work all the time, but I want to see them outside of work too.
Oh, well, that is a wonderful goal and plan for bringing presence into 2024. And so so a year from now, I'm going to be tapping you on the shoulder, Jess, and saying, hey, how did it go? So 12 months from now, December 2024, what do you want to be saying about how that word presence played out for you and the team and the dairy there at Miltrim?
So by next year, I think the biggest, when you reached out to me this time, was just to reflect on, what was forward. And I'm very proud of the progress we made, but I want to feel, whole as a community, and I want everyone to just feel that all through and through, whether, they're at home and they took a vacation day or just had a day off, like that they missed the dairy, like that they missed being at work, and that they feel supported throughout everything. And I had a review a few weeks ago, and one of my guys was like, what, I feel it. He's like, I feel the family. So I think we're on track, but I want everyone to feel that, and to just not feel the burden of work, and get back to, we always talk about this, the work-life balance. And I think we've made the forward motion made us get closer to that, but now I want people to be able to feel it as their families are growing, as their profession here is growing. I want them just to feel that wholesome family presence that is Miltrim Farms, the culture that I want to create.
Oh, Jess, that's amazing. And it's such a testament to you and the person you are, the manager that you are of both cows and people. And I want to go back to what you had shared earlier in our conversation, the very wise words from your mother, the one and only Pam Sales Pralle. I am so blessed to get a little bit of her wisdom every once in a while. But I love what she shared with you with the basketball coaching advice, to take those moments to just really look at that empty court and remember why you're there. And so, you talked about walking through the barn and walking through a nice, quiet, peaceful, pen in the morning. Those are your basketball court moments. And so how are you going to bring more presence into your own life in 2024?
Like I said, I for the first couple of years, I took on a lot of things, and I thought I could handle all of them. And so now this last year and a half, I took more time to just be present with my team here. So I think a big thing for me to be present, in my life outside of work, is just to, kind of get back to my roots on different things. I really want to start working. This is a new area for me. I'm in Marathon County, always a Clark County girl. So I just really want to start working on a youth program for, junior Holstein or dairy judging. And I'm working with the FFA in town here, but just kind of get back to the things that fill my cup outside of work, and that's working with youth and focusing more on creating the next dairy leaders, and maybe taking, a little bit of focus off myself, and just, getting back to what I feel is important. And that's always whether it's a new calf or a new junior member, that's what I love to see, is that magical spark that they always bring. So that's what I'm hoping to be more present in this year, after taking a little bit of time off from some junior things.
Well, Jess, you and your ambitions are a gift to those around you and to the greater dairy community. And I'm excited to see how it will provide a direct impact right in your own community. You're able to just reestablish your connection with the youth in your local area, and not just the people at the dairy, but in the community. And you have so much talent and so much heart to give to the things that you do. And Jess, I'm so happy for you and proud of you for what you've been able to do with your team and lead your team through in the past year. And so excited to see how you get to really this year step back and take those moments to enjoy and let it sink in, the fruits of your labor from 2023.
No, thanks, Peggy. It means a lot.
Any final thoughts?
We get up every day and the dairy is always there, but like I said, don't forget to make little moments a big moment. So that's what we're gonna strive for this year in 2024.
You just heard from Jessica Pralle Trimner from Miltrim Farms in Athens, Wisconsin, on how the word forward propelled her and her team into action mode in 2023, and how she plans to maintain their progress and celebrate the wins along the way by being present in 2024. And tune in tomorrow to hear from Jared Yowzy at Sunnyside Farms in Scipio Center, New York, on how gratitude and opportunity have had a multiplied impact on the past year and what's in store for Jared in 2024. I'm Peggy Coffeen, and thank you for listening to the Uplevel Dairy Podcast. If you want to get these podcasts delivered right to your inbox, head over to upleveldairy.com and join the Uplevel Dairy community, and you'll be the first to know when new episodes drop by getting them right in your email. And if you are liking these episodes, go ahead and rate or review on your podcast listening platform. Give us a 5-star rating and tell us what you've been loving about the Uplevel Dairy Podcast. I'm Peggy Coffeen, and thanks for listening.